Gene, you ready?
Yes.
Eric, you ready?
Yeah.
Great. I don't know what our tagline is anymore. I know what it used to be.
The creative entrepreneur looking to build a business for the long haul.
Right. Do you want to mix it up?
What is it going to be instead? You're just going to come up with something on the spot?
That's why I just said I don't know what it is anymore.
Doesn't have to be something right now.
Yeah. Hey, welcome back to Rally Caps. I'm Steven.
I'm Eric, and it doesn't have to be something now. Wait.
You heard it here first.
I'm Eric. It doesn't. There's awkward silence. You should start playing the music and then cut the music. And then play it again.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Rally Caps. I'm Steven.
I'm Eric.
And today we have a friend and guest with us.
I'm Gene.
How do you spell it?
You spell it Gene. Why'd I hesitate? Oh yeah, that's my name. Gene.
You forget how to spell your name
I know.
sometimes.
I need to tell myself, remind myself.
Is
how
that
to
because
spell
you're getting older?
it. Probably, actually, most definitely. That's the reason why.
Oldest and wisest of the group.
Not the wisest, but oldest for sure.
And the what am I trying to say?
What are you trying to say? I'm
The
nervous.
most modest.
No, that's.
Most humblest.
That's
I mean,
what
yes,
meant.
that.
I was
yes,
trying to
that
look
is
for
me.
humility.
Yes, that is me. Yes.
So humble.
Wow. Hey Gene, why are you on this episode today?
Yeah, I'm on this episode because I'm actually one of 4 people who decided to get the space that this is being filmed in right now. And on top of that, I've been doing a lot of work with Eric and Steven for the past year. And so as you guys started talking about Rally Caps and 602 and everything else happening up here, it was kind of a natural progression to move towards me being more involved in not only work we do together, but also with Rally Caps and just show my face here a little more often. Again, because we're always together essentially. So I'm excited. It makes a lot of sense. And hopefully it's even more fun than it has been.
Love that.
Gene, I'm sorry we gave you the short stool.
It's okay.
He's sitting on an apple box. And we're sitting on stools.
With 2 acoustic panels because my butt hurt so much when it was just bare apple box. But now it's a lot better.
What was style apple box you rocking today?
Yes.
Stop it.
No, yeah.
What style?
Which orientation?
It's
one of 3.
Yeah. Is it Guatemala?
No.
It is.
Is it New York, LA, or Chicago?
It is in New York.
There you go.
Hey.
Hey.
Nice. I think.
Filmmaking jokes.
I learned that last week.
Oh, is that applause?
Yeah, it is.
You can hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It worked.
awesome. I want to hear it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You're the other one with headphones.
I
And I just
know.
saw it said applause with a circle saying when it was going to end. This is fun. Steven, what are we using right now?
So we're recording Rally Caps now and all future episodes on the Rodecaster Pro 2.
It's written right there.
Yeah, Rodecaster Pro 2. It was released this year. It's a very cool board.
Very colorful.
And one of the most wonderful parts of it is that we can program these sampling pads to play different sound bites and music, and in this case, applause, which you just heard, which is really fun. Oh, so we have to fade.
Oh, wait.
Is it working?
It's crickets.
That's awesome.
The best part is that I'm the only one that can hear it right now. I knew this was going to be trouble, getting a colorful bunch of buttons in front of Eric.
Can you hear that right now? What is that?
What was that?
Air horn?
Oh, I'm glad I didn't hear that one.
Oh.
Oh, I heard it. That's awesome.
Oh man,
I faded it up too late.
it's a short one. Anyway, we are recording the show on this beautiful board. We're going to have a lot more fun with that in future episodes.
Sick.
Today, as Gene mentioned, we are talking about this new studio that we are recording in. We talked about it in the last episode, the first of 2023. And we're going to talk about it more in depth today because the 3 of us were the ones that started spearheading it back in November of 2022.
Yeah.
What's it for, Gene?
This space, as we've kind of alluded to in various places, various platforms, will be mainly used for two things. It'll be used for YouTube, because we all make YouTube videos, whether that's for Rally Caps or for our personal channels, and then also for Rally Caps, which arguably will be the staple piece of this room, this studio. And we really wanted a space, although we already have Creative Club literally one floor beneath us, we wanted a space where we could build up multiple sets and really have as little barriers as possible to filming and production. And so when this space became available a couple months ago, we jumped on it, and now we're in the process of building it out, furnishing it, with the hopes that very soon we'll be able to just kind of run with videos very quickly.
How difficult has it been to get it started and to like have actionable items like actually done?
Well, maybe to talk about that, we should go back to the beginning of like how it actually happened and the circumstance that we were all chatting about when we found out that this unit was available.
Yeah.
We had like early conversations. I feel like everybody in Creative Club had early conversations like, oh, if our businesses keep going in an upward trajectory, it would be pretty cool to have a separate unit in this building to do X, Y, Z. And I think a lot of us were kind of under the impression like, oh, it'll be a space to store physical product and or run like a completely separate business. Or like a film lab or something like that. But when that conversation resurfaced again 3 months ago, 2.5 months ago, I think I was just like, you should just check the property website and see if they have anything available. It doesn't even have to be in this building, because there's the company that manages this property manages a slew of buildings along the road that our building is on. And so we're like, hey, maybe there's just something down the street or whatever. But like, especially if there's a unit available in the building, the one right down the hall was available for like 2 days, but it was
the huge one.
It was massive and way too expensive. So that was a hard pass. And so you searched it up.
Yeah. I remember we were together, all of us.
Yeah.
And I remember on my computer, I looked up through our, just the property management site, looking up units, and one just popped up literally on our building. So I zoomed in, and the unit number 602 is the one right above our existing studio space right beneath us. And so we clicked on it, and it was cool because it looked just like our old studio space when we first moved into this building almost 6 years ago. And so we knew that right away when we saw it, we're like, this is it. The rent is a good price. It's convenient because it's right above us. And when I reached out to management, there were actually 2 people ahead of us who already looked at the space and showed interest. But I told them like, hey, we've been here for 4 years, 5 years at this point. We would love this space. We'll jump on it immediately. And so thankfully, he was great to work with. He said, sure, showed us the space. And then you guys actually got the keys not too long afterwards, right? For the room. And so that's kind of how we got it. It was
it was just open the day we
The day that we searched.
No, we were
for
like,
it.
if it's right upstairs, let's just go up and see if it's unlocked, because there's nothing in it. So sure enough, the door was open, and it was like trashed from the previous tenants. It was gross in here.
Yeah, it was dirty.
But we knew the track record of the building and the management that they would take care of it. But immediately we're like, oh, it's open and available. It's real.
Even in its gross state, we were like, this is it.
Sick.
This is the spot for us. Yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, so very quick turnaround. We signed the lease when we were on the road on a trip for the last trip for the documentary we were filming. And it was, second to last trip.
In Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was kind of surreal to do it like from afar and then come back knowing that we could just go grab keys and start getting to work.
Yep. Yeah, that was a very cool moment because of the way it worked out. It felt very serendipitous. We had those conversations, like you mentioned, Eric, kind of sporadically throughout the year, not really knowing what form it would take. But it was cool that in the right time for all 3 of us, we happened to say, hey, let's just look into it. And this was the only unit available in the entire building. And this is obviously the most convenient thing because it is just right above us too. So for a lot of reasons, it just felt like it was meant to be. And we're very grateful that we were able to jump on it when we did. It had only been listed for like 9 days also. Like it was very recent. Like just everything like seemed stacked in our favor. So it was a very cool and very fast process to get in here. Once we had the keys, I don't think we actually were able to like really settle into it until we got back from Sacramento, which was the very last doc trip of 2022. And then from there, it was kind of like we were off to the races.
Yeah, painting the floors black.
Yeah.
So cool.
So cool. Shows a lot of dirt.
Shows a lot of dirt. Very hard to paint and then seal and to make look even and good.
So
very worth it though.
It's good enough for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the detailing, you might be like, it's not the best job, but like from afar and from a visual perspective on camera, it's going to look fantastic.
Yep.
And we just started scouring Facebook Marketplace. We went thrifting, and we're going to continue to do so. And I think even just kind of philosophically about how it came to be, that's why I think those conversations are so important to have, the dreaming conversations, because you can start getting a feel for all the people in your community that you might want to like partner on projects with or new, creative endeavors. And when you realize when those people are in line with a vision that you might have, it's that serendipitous moment when you have an actionable item where it happens and everyone's like, that's the thing.
Yep.
That's it. And then kudos to Gene for being the way he is, because there's something so profound about being so direct with communication with people and proving why you should be first in line, having the receipts to back it up, and then like meticulously responding very quickly to make sure that it happens because those other two people are sleeping.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think on a personal level, the two trips in particular that felt like they built the momentum to this. The first one, which we're going to talk about more at length in a future episode, was when the three of us went to...
Let me whisper it, and so if they'll hear, and then if you say it, it'll be fun.
Okay, yeah.
But you need to
I totally can't hear you right now.
You take your headphones off. But I have a guess for what it is.
Close your ears.
Oh, okay. Close my ears.
The Leica trip at the I think it's the Virgin Hotel in downtown Nashville, in the lobby specifically. Now be very specific about what you think it was. It was either the first or second. I think I got it right.
I feel like I'm being pranked right now.
No, it's like the newlywed game.
It is. Okay. The newlywed. It's been like 5 years. First one that stood out was when the three of us flew to Nashville for the Leica project, which we will talk about a lot more in depth in a future episode.
Okay.
That was one where we had a like crazy awesome like vision casting for 2023 while sitting in the hotel that Gene splurged for us in that awesome like corner section flooded with light. Awesome, beautiful,
In the
super
what?
cool. In the what?
In the what? What part of the hotel?
The lobby?
We got point for newlywed game.
Okay.
I said exactly that.
Nice. Nice.
Actually feels great. Did you do two?
No.
Oh, you did that one.
What's the other one?
The other one, I think, was when the space was already confirmed, but it's when we had that lunch at, I'm forgetting, in the,
the taco
industrial,
place.
the taco place
Yeah.
on the Nashville dock trip.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, that felt like it was a matter of capitalizing on what we talked about in August, September for Leica, and then realizing it by jumping on the space. And then on that trip, signing the lease and then really like digging into detail about what we would use that space for.
Yeah.
And that was an awesome conversation.
Well, it was really exciting because it was like, oh, now we have an actual space to accomplish all these things. Is that what you assumed both of them were, Gene?
Yeah, I assumed it was that Leica Nashville trip at the hotel in that lobby as well. That
Yeah.
would have been my guess. We just had a lot of good conversations then. And one of the things that was great about last year was, although we all see each other on a almost daily basis and we work alongside each other, I really feel like when it comes to business, one of the things that builds trust the most is when you tackle jobs or projects that are multifaceted as far as like situations and stress contexts and whatever that looks like. And I think for us last year, the doc presented all those things, and watching us navigate those situations and how we kind of workshop stuff together. I think it was like the perfect project last year to really just see how well we work together outside of like a daily context, because we know that we all like each other and work well together. But I think the doc, one of the benefits was that it actually led, I really believe, to like this all happening. And Yeah, I think that was one of the things that solidified for me as well. Oh, like I want to do it with these guys. Let's go. I remember, that taco spot though, having the conversation, and we're like, oh yeah, like we're onto something.
Oh, yeah.
And at that point, I had like 100% confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why we're sitting here right now.
Yep.
And that's really cool to see that. Like, that was only 2-ish months ago to see where we are now and what we've accomplished in that time, even with being gone for a while, holiday break, all that stuff. We've done so much in such a short amount of time. We built a blanket fort.
Oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
Something that's really cool is seeing the materialization of what you guys are talking about, but all the thoughts we had with how much, I mean, from on a personal level, like how much money I was investing into the documentary production, of being like, there are going to be other side effects that are really beneficial from this outside of just the endeavor of the documentary. Like, sure, the documentary will hopefully make its money back and be profitable. We're pretty confident in that. But outside of that, even if it doesn't, would this have still been a worthwhile investment in each other, in trying something hard and new and out of our comfort zones? And it brought the new chapter of our careers, especially together, which is also something we want to talk about today, is like, what are we trying to formalize moving forward, the three of us?
Yeah.
Take it away, Gene. Before you do that, Gene, when did you start your YouTube channel, and how has that been going? And where does everybody here fit in that?
Yeah. For me, at least, I think I posted my first video at the very end of, it's been just over 2 years. So it was almost exactly 2 years ago that I posted that first video. And over the course of 2 years, although the channel hasn't been, maybe it hasn't hit certain metrics as I hoped as far as like sub count and everything, what's been really great is I've learned a lot from being traditionally a photographer to now learning a lot more about video. And then really, I think the biggest benefit is the network and the connections that I've made and we've made through just another platform to connect with people. And that's been the largest benefit, but it's been an up and down journey for sure. I think as any YouTuber would attest to, it requires a lot of work, a lot of discipline. And there are seasons and times where I don't feel like making videos, but I think that the timing of the studio with these guys is perfect, because I think it will mark a new chapter of what my videos look like and the kind of content that I make. And I know that these guys probably feel the same way as well, but that's kind of been my YouTube journey for the past almost 2 years now, a little over 2 years.
Yeah. The new studio is a huge factor into what we will do with YouTube going forward. And it's kind of in another sense, it's kind of seeing to fruition a pact that the three of us and Braxton all made almost exactly a year ago today, saying that we're going to embark on YouTube as a group rather than a bunch of individual people. We're going to help each other out. We're going to sacrifice other opportunities and things to really be at each other's side to grow these things on an individual level, and then ultimately gain recognition as a group, which is really, I think, the most powerful thing that we have is our community and the work that we're able to accomplish, because we can be a small run and gun film crew for all of these things. And it's incredible. It's landed us commercial jobs because of that too, like things outside of YouTube, going back to what Gene is saying about like gaining skills that are not solely rooted in YouTube, but being able to take what you learn there and then translate that into client work is really powerful. And to do that with people is huge, especially with video production.
Gene, what gave you the confidence to want to embark on a new business with us in that process? Like helping each other with YouTube and that whole philosophy of just like, no matter what, I'll drop what I'm doing and go help you set up this talking head.
Yeah.
What, you know.
Yeah.
Is it my smile?
Well, 100% that.
Is it his voice?
That too.
Hello.
It was, I think that, you are the one who is the largest encourager, motivator to start a channel, because you had already been doing it for a few years ahead of Steven and I starting channels more seriously. But I think once I got started and once we started working together on a very regular basis, again, like I mentioned earlier, when you work together so closely, you see so many facets of one another. You see some of the good, some of the difficult, and some of the areas that we cover for one another, and then where I'm covered from you guys as well. And so I think that for me, it was really more trust building. And for my personality, at least if I'm being completely transparent, I'm more cautious in relationships, and Eric knows this. Like I'm slower to trust and to be vulnerable. And I think there's things in my personal life that I've worked on to become more vulnerable that have translated then to my work life and my career. And I think the timing was perfect. Even when Steven came to Chicago, was a big leap of faith on his part. And I don't know, it's so fun to do stuff with friends that you trust and you love. And there's truly no one else in this world that I would trust as much as you two to do work alongside together with. And I don't know, the last year was a lot of trust building, a lot of covering one another, a lot of really putting ourselves out there to be a resource to one another and helping each other out. And I think those are all the reasons why I had no doubt in my mind that when the decision was made, when we had these conversations, that to do it together made the most sense.
It's a really good answer.
Wow. It's really, really sweet.
Made me emotional.
And your voice.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
It is cool to have kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? Not an ecosystem, but like a sounding board for the work that we make on an individual basis. The fact that we can evaluate the work that we do on a technical level, whether it's statistically or if it's just on a philosophical, profound, emotional level as well with the work that we're making. And I think that's only going to compound as we're working in this space as well.
Yeah.
And I was telling Chad on the way up here walking, it's just so cool that we can just leave 502, come up here and record an episode.
Yep.
And yeah, it's pretty wild. And seeing it come together, it's not even like 20% done yet. And it's still already feeling so special, like the light coming in and the small amount of furniture that we have in here. It's just, again, getting all those feelings going. The fact that we have meetings this week about potential big things happening with this new entity, which is still unnamed.
Yes. And that's what we're figuring out still.
Yeah. Kind of like the catchphrase of the podcast now.
Right. Yeah, because we know what it's not. What did you end the last episode with? It was
Scatter batter.
It's not going to be that.
that ain't it, Chief.
Oh, I said
Scatter batter.
I was like, what did I say before that? I said, later, skater.
Later,
and you're like,
skater.
we're a baseball themed podcast. I said, scatter batter.
We might have to make like a joke T-shirt with that or something.
That would be
Scatter
awesome,
batter.
actually.
But okay, so as both of you already touched on, there is surprisingly a professional formal entity coming out of this. And we are trying to figure out what we're going to name that and what we're going to use to more or less house the projects that we are working on, because the three of us are trying to pursue that a lot more intentionally this year. Last year, it felt like a lot of stuff kind of fell in our laps, or things came to our individual businesses and we brought each other on to take them. And it feels like we're a little more unified in trying to present ourselves as a very small production house.
And I've never been excited to like build a website or a portfolio. I think you guys know that about me. But this is something I'm excited to build a website and portfolio on.
Nice.
You know, just because that we could share the load.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, there's just something about like doing it without the expectation of being paid and like just doing it together. I think that's the biggest hang up I have. It's like on my personal side, I'm like, I could spend time doing this on my own. I know I can. Do I need to pay someone to do it? It's still working, even though I haven't updated the site, or I need a new one, but it's still working.
Sure.
So, but I'm thinking of all of the possibility that will exist if we have a beautifully curated website and portfolio to prove what we're capable of doing. I think that's gonna be so profound, split between three different people who have done a mountain of work in the past 3 years, visually, emotionally, all that stuff. Like putting the short films we've made together in there, like, you know, documentary things, stills that we've made, our film photography, just like it will be a haven of artwork and creativity that will prove a point that you should probably hire us, which is just very, very exciting. And I think of your design skills, Steven, you know, like I think of your technical skills, Gene, like the ability to communicate with people and to figure out what the communication structure could and will look like in the systems. And it's
It's very exciting. It feels like the world's kind of our oyster right now, which can be a double-edged sword sometimes of like, hey, what are we choosing to commit to?
Yeah.
What are we
do
putting
you
our,
do?
Yeah. What are we putting our time into? Like, actually, what do you guys feel like the next steps are for the studio at this current point in time?
Like the space itself, or just
Like the
entity
physical
that we're making?
space.
Yeah.
Both.
Both?
If you have a thought on both.
Yeah, I mean, I think the physical space, it's still basically a blank canvas. There's still a lot in here that we haven't furnished and that we plan to. And so I think that's going to take a couple more months. I think especially before spring rolls around, we really want to have this place dialed in so that we have 3 or 4 sets to work off of very regularly. So I think that just requires a little more discipline on our end to make sure that we devote a day or two to go shopping on Facebook or like message people on Facebook, whatever that looks like.
Facebook Marketplace.
It's
Holy crap.
wonderful.
Just type in, no, don't.
No, don't type. Don't.
tell
No.
If you don't live in Chicago, just type in mid-century modern into Facebook Marketplace.
And if
And
you do live
wow.
in Chicago and do that, I'm going to tell your mom. So don't.
It's like West Elm and CB2 for a quarter of the price.
Or less, honestly.
It's
Less.
stupid what we
Eighth.
found so far.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And we
Okay.
will make more videos showing the space once it's kind of built out. But I think that's the hope, the tentative hope for the physical space. And then for the entity, the business that we're building, we've already had a few really exciting conversations with potential jobs and prospects. And so I really believe that that's going to happen more frequently. I really think that as more eyes get on this space, on our individual platforms, and then what we're doing as a group, I think that what we do is just such a rarity when you have people who see eye to eye creatively, but also from a business perspective and even emotionally, like we're talking about a friendship. I think that we are an anomaly. And so I think because of that, we have a lot of, there's a lot that we're going to be able to accomplish. And so I think that we're still deciding what direction we want to go in, what kind of jobs do we want to do, where do we want to like kind of lay our golden goose eggs, like you've talked about before, where are we going to really invest our time and energy and resources into? I think that we're still having conversations around, but I don't think any of us have a doubt that this is going to be something very incredible. And it's funny because we say that every year. Last year, we said that a bajillion times, and it was the best year I've had from a creative perspective, all of us, work, everything. But I feel like this year's going to be even bigger, and the year after that's going to be even bigger. And I think that's something to be excited about. So I think what's going to happen, I don't really know. But do I believe that it's going to be something awesome and big? 100%.
I like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gene, on a personal level, how are you doing?
Ooh, that's a good question. On a personal level? On a personal level, actually.
Yeah, my car just got stolen.
Not a joke. Did happen.
It still hurts. No, it doesn't hurt. My car got jacked about 6 weeks ago. Was very not happy about it. Which also my temperament in general, very chill.
I would pay money to go back in
not
time to witness that.
chill about that. Actually, it was a Sunday when we found out. So I went to church, and so strangely, I didn't think about it, but it was like the next day, Monday, where it just hit me, and I was so upset. More because it just affected our personal lives so much with our 2 kids and just having one car, which I know sounds very privileged, but with the family, we just needed 2 cars with different jobs and everything. And so that was not fun, but car is fixed. Got it detailed last week. It looks brand spanking new. What are you playing?
Applause.
Nice. Yes.
But that's what I'm talking about is Gene just got it done immediately. I would have had no car for 8 months. You guys know it's true. You know it. I would have been like, oh, got stolen. Dang it.
Gonna run to work every day.
Yeah.
You actually would, though.
There's chill 27 miler. It's fine.
One way. But everything else is good. I would say that on a personal level, it's weird because I think that it's not a quarter or mid-century life.
Modern.
Mid-century
Midlife modern crisis.
Midlife,
Facebook
mid-century
marketplace deals.
crisis.
But I think that I've never spent so much time emotionally thinking about what my life is going to look like, what my family's life is going to look like the next 10 years. And I think like 6-7 years ago, I didn't think about it as much, but as I'm turning 33 this year.
In May,
Yes, in May. I'm being forced to think a lot about my future, about my family's future, about our future. And I don't know. I'm excited about it. I'm also a little scared about it, to be honest. I think that what we do as a living, although I really believe in what we're going to do and accomplish, it's not like we get a salary paycheck, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think as a father, especially and a husband, I do think about that stuff a lot. But again, I wouldn't, with my personality, I rarely take risks. So me doing this already tells you that to me, this is not a risk. And yeah, I think on a very personal level, I haven't stopped talking about the studio. And I think that, yeah, I'm doing good after the car thing. I was not good after that, but, but we're good now.
Wow. There's more questions in the tank right now. I feel like there's things we haven't covered. Oh,
I can barely read that. What did it say?
crickets.
I was just waiting for a moment to use that one. I almost did it earlier. I was too late to the punch. I was like,
There will be a moment when people are listening to this in the car where they will think like the show stopped streaming for a second.
yeah,
That was perfect.
yeah.
We just glitched. Honestly, all of us just glitched
Yeah.
for a second.
Steven, how confident do you feel moving into 2023 financially and business wise? Because it was a hard transition where you had to get a lot of your bread by flying a lot and going back to where you came from and back and forth to shoot weddings. And now you have built a foundation here and a foundation that wasn't necessarily profitable or isn't even yet, but is now becoming. What are all your thoughts and feelings surrounding that?
I feel so much better going into this year than I
Yeah.
did last year.
Yeah.
Like undoubtedly. The first year and a half that we were here, or I guess first full year when we were living in downtown was definitely difficult because things just didn't pan out exactly like we expected them to. That's part of life. And Laura didn't have a job for the first year that we were here, and I was traveling an obscene amount just to
Tell them
finish
how
up
many
my-
flights.
in the last half of 2021, 34, and in all of 2022 was 45.
I was going to do crickets again.
Plus, if I think, I'm writing the script for a video right now. I think plus the Mexico trip that I just took last week, that would be 81 in 18 months.
That's insane.
My goodness.
Which I kind of love the symmetry of how that worked out.
81,
81 and
18.
18.
Yeah.
That worked out nicely. So
The War of 1881.
yeah. Steven's internal struggle. He hates heights. Oh, it's great for him.
How is that possible? He's really tall.
Yeah. So the first full, August to August year of us moving here, being here was definitely difficult. Things have changed dramatically in the last 6 months. Laura has gotten an amazing job at Northwestern, which is really cool. And things that I was investing my time into and my money and resources are finally starting to turn around and actually make money. My big thing in moving here in the first place was to move to be close to you guys and to really invest in things that I would not have been able to, being based on the East Coast still. And frankly, a lot of those things were businesses and opportunities that inherently weren't meant to turn a profit in the short term, but be good investments long term.
Yes.
And it honestly would have felt like a waste to me if I came here and just immediately picked up where I left off with weddings and did the exact same thing. In the same way that it would have felt kind of like a waste to just move from a suburb in Massachusetts to a suburb immediately in Illinois. We wanted to just completely shake things up and really go outside of our comfort zone and do new things that would ultimately prove fruitful, hopefully. Like that was the ideal. And I'm very, very grateful to say that we are now at that point and really starting to turn a corner. And those things that I've put so much energy into are starting to give me energy back. And I'm very grateful that I chose to use my time like that, even though there were so many months where it just sucked. It's like, the first is coming up. This is tough. Rent is coming, studio rent, like all these expenses that I was acquiring in order to be around these opportunities and these projects. There were so many just really, really difficult and stressful moments. But through it all, I just kept reminding myself like, hey, you are investing in things that are going to be good long term. And it was about having that long vision of like, it's tough right now, but you're doing this for a reason. And it's for things to not be tough long term, and for you to be able to be home on the weekends when you have kids, and to be working less, and to be a present father, and to be a good husband. And those were the driving factors that kept me really focused on those goals.
Sick. I like that.
That's a good answer.
I like that a lot.
It was tough. Not going to lie about that. It was very tough, but very worthwhile.
Yeah, it's never easy.
No.
No, building stuff's not easy. How does it feel to have multiple streams of income?
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And there's so many now.
Yeah.
And especially by the end of this year, I think is when things are really going to feel like very comfortable.
Isn't it wild to think that like even some feeling very small right now, income wise, you're like, oh, if I just remain at the very least consistent, that they'll be bigger by the end of the year and bigger at the start of next year. And the compounding effect will then just give you the leverage and all of the encourage to start new things and to build and build. Yeah.
It's very exciting.
Honestly, that's one of the things I'm most excited about with what we're doing is to have individual entities on our own that are robust enough to then be like, we can throw our own personal finances at this to make money on a bigger scale creatively.
Yep.
Like that is super exciting to me. Whether that's starting a new business or, investing in some sort of real estate or whatever it is, that's the kind of long term. We had a call when you weren't in Chicago yet where I was talking crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, we could get real estate out in like Wyoming and it could be like 6 cabins, but like film sets rent the place and there's ATVs and like all this craziness. Nowhere near that, but like having stuff like those kinds of conversations get me so stoked because it's like the baby steps we're all taking right now could absolutely lead to something like that.
And it's cool to see how we can take money that we have made in semi-traditional creative ways to invest in businesses that are pretty atypical for people in our industry.
Yeah.
Things that are outside of what most people are thinking about as far as expanding their businesses, and then being able to discuss them here on a podcast in long form and explain how they're going. Like that, there's something really exciting about that, to just tackle things that are just kind of uncommon and aren't really talked about that much within people in our circles.
Yeah.
Something Ryan said on the Sacramento trip that just, I can't stop thinking about it. I don't know if it's something he thought of or just is repeating, but money is energy. The line money is energy was just like, wow, what a profound thing to chew on and can just mean so much. It really devalues what it is while at the same time giving it tons of power in a completely different way than it stereotypically does.
Sure.
Like so many people want the money for X, Y, and Z that ends up not being really that important.
Sure.
But then using it as a source of energy to build or do the next thing is so profound to me. Just like not caring about it in some sense, knowing that it's just used to do this next thing that can solve this problem, help this person, create this beautiful piece of art. Oh, I just chew on it for a while.
It's nice.
There's a few things he said I wrote down in my phone that week.
It felt like everything he was saying was pretty dang wise.
Yeah, we're talking about Ryan Booth. He's a stud.
That guy.
Yeah.
He's the best.
What a cool dude. Wow.
I have a question for you guys.
Please.
Yeah. So we've been talking a lot about how we got to this place and some of what our next steps are, but have you guys thought about, by the end of this year, by the end of this calendar year, are there any top shelf goals that you guys want to accomplish? Whether that's like as a group for Rally Caps, on your individual platforms that, again, still feed into this thing we're doing together. But have you guys thought about anything like you want to accomplish? Maybe outside of the documentary, because I think the documentary for us, that's the very top thing. But beyond that, have you guys thought about what you want to accomplish this year?
It's great because I really haven't sat down yet.
Yeah.
There are things that I'm building currently where I'm like, there's a ton of potential with XYZ, whether it's on my own front or with you guys, where I haven't really set definitive goals yet. The documentary, absolutely. Like, I think far and away, if we can sell that movie, would just be one of the coolest things any of us have ever accomplished.
Easily.
And even if we don't, it's still going to be, it already is, one of the coolest things we've ever accomplished.
Yes.
And so that's really, really neat. I never thought I would think this or say this, but I feel like even having another employee.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
By the end of the year.
I'm starting to see the benefit greatly
Yeah.
of investing in somebody else, in my brand specifically, and what that could mean in duplicating myself in a meaningful way. Being able to replicate what I can't do because of time and using money as energy to expand in a way I want to but can't physically do as one person. Something that's been so profound to me is that I am working the least amount of hours I have in the past 6 years. And last year was my highest earning revenue year to date. And it's been stair-stepping still. So like seeing that model is working, and then seeing how, and that could be us employing somebody. It could be us employing multiple people. Like this could all look extremely different by 11 months from now.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really fun to listen back to this episode and
Little time capsule.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm warming to the idea of an intern or employee of sorts, seeing what yours and Shua's relationship looks like. I think it's very cool. I'm still, I think probably more in the camp of just fleshing out what my personal business and brand looks like, because I still am in a bit of a transitional period coming from the East Coast to here and starting to really cement myself in a couple of like distinct ways here. So we'll see if that actually happens this year or maybe early next year or something along those lines. And I have a couple of, different, more metric goals and things across, social followings and things like that to continue just building a personal audience and ultimately build whatever our collective reach looks like. And then, of course, the doc, finalizing whatever our LLC or business or thing that the three of us are doing is. I'm still very interested in what DPing a film, like a film could look like, specifically with a friend of ours who has contacted Eric and I about that, and that would be a very cool portfolio piece. I'd love to get some more just huge commercial clients also this year. I really want to capitalize on what we made with Leica last year and kind of dive deeper into that and make some just really outstanding work in that arena. And I'm very excited about stills too, but we can talk about that more in a future episode.
Totally.
Yeah.
So many things.
So many things.
A lot of things.
What about you, Gene?
I think individually, for myself, there are a lot of metrics I want to hit, whether it's for YouTube or...
What is it? What are the YouTube
What's
metrics?
yours?
I would love to hit like 25,000 subscribers by the end of this year.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I think that I would love to start being more intentional about fostering a community on my channel of people that can communicate with me and with each other through YouTube or Instagram. Because like all of us get questions and DMs all the time or comments on our stories. And I would love to find a way to foster a community there. Just because I've benefited so much from in-person community, but also those platforms as well. But I think 25,000 subscribers is that's a large goal for me this year. And then obviously diversifying my business further where I'm not reliant solely on wedding income, which is great. We all know that. But it's just not where I want to continue laying investments down, especially with knowing that my time is valuable and creatively where I find satisfaction is not in weddings. So I want to really do my due diligence with servicing my couples to the very best of my abilities for the rest of this year and maybe next year. But I really want to diversify my business. And then for our group, I would love for us to start working on another big tier project like the doc. I would love for us to really wrap that up really well, make it beautiful and amazing and impactful, and then really get going on the next big thing, whatever that is. And I have no idea, no aspiration specifically for what that is, But I really think that we're going to have a lot of those kinds of projects. And I don't know, I learned so much last year about myself, about my abilities creatively and technically. And I'm really excited to see how much further I can go and how we can go together and what we're going to be able to accomplish. Because I think it's going to be, I think this year's going to be insane. I think it's going to be like crazy. And I think for the Rally Caps audience to kind of be a witness in real time and see what's happening, it's going to be so exciting.
That's going to be very, very fun to give updates
Yeah.
along the way.
I think a lot of the foundation we laid last year is about to explode this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
In a good way, because foundations are good. So the foundation won't
Don't
explode.
explode.
The foundation
Will be solidified.
Very solidified.
Foundation will stay still.
we're gonna seal the painted floor.
Not us, though, because we were not great at it. Someone else will do it for us.
Foundation will explode. Let me continue. Let me get the illustration correct for you. So we're going to build a house.
Yes. And then destroy the foundation. And the walls came tumbling down.
Wow. Scatter batter.
Oh, well.
Well, that's the official tagline of the show now. So I guess we're done here. Thank you all for listening. We appreciate you.
If you would be so kind and you've enjoyed Rally Caps in the past, enjoy it now and will enjoy it in the future, consider giving us a 5-star rating on the Apple Podcasts, if that's where you're listening, or any of the other places where you can review podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to subscribe if you're not already. And just helps us out with getting out to more people, all the internet things we should be plugging at the end of an episode.
Yes. You heard them all here.
Mate, cut it, put it in the beginning.
Put this in the beginning. Is this the new cold open?
All right.
We love you all. Thanks for listening.
1, 2, 3. Scatter batter.
I refuse. No.
Come on, make it a thing.
Slide, Clive.
Oh, no.
1, 2, 3.
Rally Caps.